welcome everyone. We're gonna see who happens to come in and who doesn't. Oh, hi. Okay, well, we're still gonna wait for another one or two more people before we get started in on things, because it's that time of the week. And yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. All right. Oops, that's not a good one to leave out. That is not a good one to leave out. All right. Why is that one upside down? Oh, never mind. All right. Well, we'll get started. And anybody who happens to join, great. Welcome to Reading Wednesday. I really got to come up with a better name for that. But anyways, this week we, you're a little bit of half hour, whatever end up going on about, whoever ends up interacting. It's it kind of is what it is, really. This week's been a pretty hectic week, and if you're watching this post, great. If but I think everybody's week's about to get really hectic when it comes to everything as well. Just the general energy of things. Things are going to be. The readings for the last few weeks have been kind of leading into like challenge and tests and stuff like that, and and that's kind of the way things are. I have a feeling are going to be going. But I've done tarot the last couple weeks, so I think I might do runes this week, just to maybe switch it up a little bit, because I know a lot of people. I'll be like, oh yeah, runes, they're awesome, but nobody ever actually has very much experience with them. Although I'm shuffling my tarot just in case anything happens to come up with that. And yeah, I mean, if you're watching this post, please feel free to share it to those who think you might be worthwhile. If you're watching it live and you happen to join all the way through, great. Welcome to the space. Got my candles going in the background and all that other neat kind of jazz. But anyways, okay. So yes, things have been very chaotic, and I'm shaking up the runes here in case anybody thinks this is rigged of any sorts. Either live or posted, it really doesn't matter. And yeah, we'll just see what's going on. See what I pull out, see what I end up having to get together for us, and yeah. And if at any point anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, I'm just going to put them on the space beside me here for a few minutes. Well, then I'll pull them out. And I'll go from there. Okay then. This is going to be an interesting week. I know my week's been interesting so far, and so I mean it's just a matter of time before the rest of the week's interesting. But anyways, okay, so I did my runes, my handmade runes, and I'm going to attempt to do this in order that it makes it sense on the camera, but we'll see. No, it's completely ass backwards. But anyways, okay, so here's the first one I pulled, second one, and third. And, these three are kind of neat in this specific circumstance. Because, like I said, the last couple weeks have been about testing, about challenge, about, emotional compassion and that neat kind of stuff. And these three here, it kind of makes sense. If you've been reading, if you've been watching these, or even just been happy to not just flowing with the energies, these three make a lot of sense. You have Jera, Feyu, and Urez, I believe it's called. And these three here, the names, I call them many different things in different spaces, so I apologize if the names get a little mixed up. But Jera here, it's the rune of essentially the saying of you reap what you sow. That's what this rune essentially means. And it's kind of neat. So you got identical chevrons kind of going into one another, meaning you have to put work in order to get work out. And if you've been following with the global energies, with the universal energies, guess what? That's what you've been probably been tested and pushed to do for the last few weeks. And and if you have, hey, leave a comment. What's going on? What has maybe been a specific challenge to you, both live and post? Because you know what, I like interaction. I like comments. I like having people, seeing how different people have experienced different things. Because that's how we learn, is we learn from sharing with one another. But anyways, and so what that kind of means is that through the challenge that we've had, through the growing that we've had to do the last few weeks, I know I've done a lot, and the universe has actually been very gentle about mirroring. How to say it? Mirroring, kind of chinks in the armor, I guess, if you will. I don't. That's probably not the right way of saying it, but that's the only way that kind of comes to mind right now. But kind of mirroring back, kind of where I need to improve on things in my life, and kind of gentle reminders and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, for me, it's been a great period of growth. It's been a great period of understanding. I mean, I'm gonna have something really great happen this weekend, which is to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. But it's private business, but just know it's something that has been a very long time coming, and I'm quite excited about it. But so this rune here, for this week, kind of really makes sense. If from my own personal view, I'd imagine from a lot of others' personal point of view, that you'll find it very relevant, I guess is the correct word. Anyway, so the second one, Feiyu. Literally, this rune means to gain cows. Now, context, in the Norse culture, they really didn't have a currency. Their currency was how much livestock you had, because the more livestock you had, the more mouths you had to feed in terms of like your farm hands and stuff like that, because that's all very important. And but basically, if you modernize that theology, that mindset, then you're basically saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to be gaining more resources this week, if you haven't started to see that already. And like I said, my personal thing, as much as I've had that the universe kind of bounce things back at me, I'm gaining a lot of resources, gaining a lot of knowledge from that, a lot of self-awareness from that, and changing, how to change behaviors and stuff. I mean, I'm trying to work on my physical health. I'm starting to see some benefits from that and that kind of stuff. So, this one to me is personally very relevant. And, I'd imagine that there's probably a good number of people that are seeing an uptick in whatever they consider a resource. Could be money, could be friendship, could be networking, could be, I don't know, fame, whatever you happen to decide that is relevant as a resource. And last but not least, you've put the hard work in and you've seen the results. You've increased your resources, whatever that is a relevance to you. Last but not least, you have this rune here, and that's the rune of resilience, because this is the rune that represents a bull. When you think of bull, you think something that's that's this big and beefy and bulky and is resilient and nothing can take the bull down. Well, that's what this rune kind of encompasses. Physical resilience, physical healing, mental well-being, that kind of jazz. And so, through all of this, you'll get a bit of a breather because of the increased resources that you may that you kind of, whether you're aware of or not, are coming into you. And then you got this one here, which these resources are going to help buffer you against things that are kind of coming in the future. And whether they're positive or negative, that's up to your perspective, because ultimately that's what it is. Because it's everything about perspective. It's about understanding and seeing from your other person's point of view. And that's that's very important when it comes to this, because when how to say this, when it comes to perspective, like to the cops, the criminals are bad. To the criminals, the cops are bad. Who's right? Who's wrong? It all depends on who you ask. All depends on what perspective you take from it and you look from it. And so some of these resources that you will probably end up working through this week will end up kind of helping prep you and give you the tools to make your the next week or the next few weeks a bit more tolerable, to give you a little bit of a break and reprieve. And I had a very I forgot to write it down. I was watching a Netflix show earlier, and I forgot to write the quote down from it. But it is quite a profound quote. It'll probably come to me later. However, on a bit more of well, you know what, and whether you're watching this live and you're just kind of invisible there, or you're watching it post post live, leave a comment. Well, was there anything specifically challenging this week that you might have had? And if it was, what did you do about it? How did you handle it? What did you learn from it? That's a very important thing right there, is what you learn from it, because every lesson that's out there is meant to make us learn something. And if we don't learn something, then that challenge is going to just keep rising back in our lives until we've learned what we're supposed to learn from it. And ultimately, with the universe being a very great mirror this last week, I've had people be brutally honest with me this week, and both in a positive and a negative manner. And I mean negative. I say that with context, or with a bit of bias, but I appreciate all of that. I appreciate that genuine, honest feedback. And for me, it's because it allows me to grow. It allows me to learn. And and while I may tote, don't take anything personally, I still stand by that when I say this. And it's because I don't take anything personally. However, if someone says, "Hey, you know what? You're doing this and it is pissing me off," that to me sparks okay, what am I doing? And then I'll examine that. And then I'll sit there and go, okay, how can I prevent this from happening again? Is it something this individual is worked up about, or is it something that I'm worked up about? Okay, that I learned from that. And then, is it relevant or meaningful to hold on to that emotion or that comment or that experience? 9 times out of 10 it isn't, because by this point, by step 3, I've learned what I've meant to learn. Usually, I am human after all, so I do not, there are times when I don't quite get the message. And that's why I'm very thankful that the universe this week has been very gentle with how it's been breaking things to me. Because I admit I have been very busy with my projects. I have something really exciting I want to say, but I don't want to jinx it by saying anything really about it. But all I know is that I will be slowly working on something that will take a great deal of time. And I'm hoping that as it gets a little closer to release, I will have to look at my options then. But it is going to take a great deal of time. I'm working on the rough details right now, and I'm going to be working on moving things forward with it. I am very excited about it, because if it picks up, it will be a great creative outlet that will allow me to support myself a bit more in a different way than what I'm trying to do now. Which, saying what I'm doing now isn't working, it's just augment to help increase that kind of stuff, because that's what I need. I'm in a very particularly challenging time of my life, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the challenge, because it's doing nothing but make me stronger. It's doing nothing but allowing me to grow and learn. But the human me is saying, hey, what the hell? Give me a few minutes, give me a chance to breathe, give me a chance to not have to be struggling all the time. And I don't like using the word struggle, but sometimes that's what it seems like. It seems like I'll get one step ahead, and then I'll go back 2 or 3 steps because of something, whether it's financial or emotional, whatever. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I mean, I certainly hope not. And if I am, maybe it's just something I'm doing. If you're looking at this post and you think that might be something, I mean, hey, I welcome any and all input, because I am learning as much as I'm a coach and guide and counsel to many, intuitively and psychologically. Like I said, I'm still human. I'm learning. Like all of us, we're learning. That's the whole point of coming down here, is to learn, to experience. Because time travels very densely down here, and in one lifetime is the equivalent of like hundreds upstairs or downstairs, if that's how you want to look at it. But just be aware. Be aware. There is a lot of shifting that's going on. There's a lot of other stuff that's happening right now that is going to present a unique challenge to those that are aware and not aware. So just please be very mindful of that. I am being guided to kind of cut this a little short today. Normally I like to do it for the half hour or 40 minutes or so. But I'm going to cut this a little short today because at this point I really do feel like I'm rambling. And that's okay. Because to ramble is fine. I believe there's a message in there for a few of you in all of this. And you know what? Comment. Follow me. Shoot me an email. DM me. Whatever. I'm game. I'm open to any type of interaction. Because that's what we need to grow and learn, is that interaction. And you know what? I like meeting new people. I like hearing other people's stories. So go ahead, share away. And I look forward to hearing from anybody. I do readings, obviously. I do counseling, that neat kind of stuff, intuitive counseling, guidance, all that. So you know what? If you need anything, even paranormal work, I used to be really big in it, and I still do the odd thing here or there for it. And you know what? If the need's there, I'll do it too. So contact me. I have questions, and we'll see what we can do to help get you on the right path. Anyways, Brett the Wizard for a brief message tonight. Till next week, everyone.